Today's training will be about M360 and the monthly credit tracking. A few definitions before we move forward, just to make sure everything makes sense as I continue to use these terms throughout the training. So a broadcast is when you create the single copy in M360 that you schedule to go out. That's a broadcast, and you're sending that to a list of multiple people. So you're sending multiple broadcast that is going to send multiple messages. And then a message is a single message sent to a single person. So a multiple SMS or MMS messages make up a text broadcast. And then each message requires a certain number of credits. So for example, a single SMS message may cost 2 credits. Depending on your plan, M360 will calculate the number of credits required for a broadcast. It uses the formula where the total number of mobiles that are going to receive your message times the total number of credits per message. So if you have 1,000 people that you're sending a message to, and you're on a plan where it costs you 2 credits per SMS message, then that SMS broadcast will cost you 2,000 credits, because 1,000 mobile numbers times 2 credits per message is 2,000 credits total for that broadcast. You have been paying your monthly fee based on a contact and a messaging plan that you budgeted for this time last year. So each one of your centers, I'll show you in M360 where you can go, but you are on a contact plan and on a messaging plan. And so this training is about where do you go to find your plan, and then how do you know where you are in your, the number of contacts up to the limit, and where are you in the number of credits up to the limit that you have. You're all on a monthly plan, so your contact plan is just what it is in terms of you have up to that number of contacts. So if you have 30,000 contact limit, then you don't need to worry about where you are every month. It just is up to 30,000 no matter what month it is in terms of your plan. Now, of course, if you're looking like you're getting really close to the upper limit of your contact plan, then we'll want to talk about some things that we can do, which again, I'll show you in the platform, what your options are. But in terms of the monthly fee, you just pay for that capacity every month. The messaging plan, however, you are on a monthly messaging plan. So if you have the 35,000 credits per month, then every first of the month, so starting June 1st, you get 35,000 credits for that month. And then once it turns, once we're out of June, so July 1st, then you will start over again with 35,000 credits. There are no rollover credits. If you are interested in rollover credits, that does require an annual commitment. We can absolutely do that for you. So if you need to talk to anybody, Lauren Gaspard or Jenna McIntyre or support@pocketstop.com, however you want to reach us, but we can obviously talk about that. But you should all be good, because the back half of this training will be showing you how you can segment your database so that you can fit into your plan and not have to upgrade if you don't need to. But there are 2 parts to your fee: the contact plan and the messaging plan, and these are the plan limits that we are enforcing in M360 going forward. On the left side, you'll see that there are the contact and messaging plan for off-property text and email. That just simply means you don't have the Wi-Fi integration. And on the right side are plans for the Wi-Fi integration. You'll also see that each messaging plan has a number of credits per SMS and per MMS. So the 35,000, for example, 35,000 credits per month. It costs 2 credits per SMS message and 4 credits per MMS message. And then we give you a price break on the SMS as you continue to go up in the messaging plans. So if it feels complicated at this point, don't worry, because the platform has a lot of great ways to help you calculate the cost of each message and how to manage your monthly credits. And then, of course, again, you always have your Pockets Up team to also walk you through personally if you have any questions. So when you go into M360 and you go to send a message and you select the group you're sending to, you'll see that first at the top, you can toggle between SMS and MMS. And here you can see that per your location, specific to your location and specific to your plan, it'll tell you how many credits per SMS message or per MMS message. And then as you select the group or segment that you're sending to, it will calculate the total cost of that broadcast. So again, the platform takes care of you. There are no surprises. It lets you know exactly what you need to push out that message. You will also be warned via email as well as in the platform when you are low or you've exceeded your monthly credits or your contact plan. So it looks like this. You'll have a red bar at the top and it'll let you know if you've exceeded your contact plan. It'll let you know that you've added contacts that you can't message right now because they're sort of in a holding place until you either reduce the amount of contacts that you have by maybe removing inactive contacts, which we'll talk about in a minute, or by upgrading to another plan. It'll also give you a warning about your credits. So it'll tell you if you are low, as you can see in this example as well, on your credits. So you'll get that message right as you log in. So you are always kept up to date. Furthermore, M360 provides a daily credit usage with the ability to download a report for each day that itemizes every message and its credit cost. So you can go to the 3-line menu below the M360 logo in the top left. You click on that, and then you can select credit tracker, and here it'll tell you how many available credits you have, how many you've used since the beginning of the month, and then it will show you a line item of every single day and how many credits were used. So if no credits were used that day, it will say 0 and it'll give you your balance, just like going into your credit card account, seeing the deductions each day. And so as you use messages, it will calculate, or as you send broadcast, it will calculate the total number of credits used for that broadcast and it'll deduct it from your balance. You can also download that itemized report. And so it looks something like this, where it literally goes through and says each message that was sent. So in this example, Mother's Day gift guide sent through an SMS, and it was sent to each person on the list of their segment. And then over to the very right, it'll show you how many credits that particular message. So, let's pretend the top one was sent to Jenna McIntyre. It cost you 3 credits to send to Jenna McIntyre. And then John Doe and so on and so forth. And so all of those credits add up to the total cost of your broadcast. If you need more credits, then you can purchase them in bundles as a one-off, which you'll be able to see if you click in that credit tracker. If you click on purchase credits, it will give you those options. Or you can contact PocketStop to upgrade to a higher plan with more monthly credits. So the one-off credits are just simply buying 20,000 credits, and maybe it's towards the end of the year and you just need a little bit more to get you to the holiday because it's a busy time and there's lots to communicate. Or if it's, you're finding yourself consistently, maybe in March or April, consistently needing more credits because your database has grown with, a wonderful holiday campaign from the year prior, then maybe you want to think about upgrading to a higher plan with more monthly credits, or discussing the possibility of committing to an annual plan so that your messages can roll over. So you have options if you're finding yourself running out of credits, and then of course we can always help you through that. And there are more ways to segment the database into smaller number of mobiles. So I think most are familiar with sending, obviously, a broadcast to your entire database, but you might consider if upgrading is not possible with your budget, or it's just simply not the first option you want to exhaust, then you might think about segmenting your database. So good examples here are, if you have the Wi-Fi integration, sending messages to people who have connected in the last 30, 60, 90 days. So instead of every single person in your database that's ever joined to get text messages, think about maybe using your credits to message people who have been in the property in the last 30 days, since they're, the folks who are most loyal to you, or who have at least have you most recently top of mind. You could also segment to mobiles who have opted into text in some way other than your Wi-Fi. So a lot of you have an off-property opt-ins segment. If you have the Wi-Fi, integration, and so this would limit just to the people who they could have engaged with Wi-Fi and provided their information that way, but they have at least engaged with one off-property campaign, attraction campaign, either through a form or a keyword, or something like that. You could also, and this applies to centers that don't have the Wi-Fi, so other ideas, mobiles who have clicked on a link sent in the past, text messages. We can also talk about tags. So there are lots and lots of ways to segment, to drill down to a smaller number of people that is not your entire database. If you want to send out maybe that, third message that month, you don't have enough credits for the entire database, you could still leverage those credits in your monthly fee, but just send it to a smaller segment. And you can schedule a broadcast to send to multiple segments. And M360 doesn't send duplicate messages. So if someone exists in multiple segments, and you include those in your message, it will only send the message to the mobile number one time that exists. The mobile number that's existing in multiple, it only sends once. Okay, also an important update, SMS messages with emojis now cost 3 times the credits. If you max out the characters, which pretty much everybody does. So really leverage that calculation when you go to send a broadcast. If you want to use emojis, it will likely be cheaper for you to use MMS than SMS, because SMS, though it shows you is 2 credits per message, when you add emojis, it basically makes the cost 6 emoji or 6 credits per message. It's an odd thing that the carriers recently started doing, so or for us, for our account. So just keep an eye on that. It will calculate accurately, and so when you toggle, you can play around with it. You can toggle back and forth between SMS and MMS, and to see the estimated cost, and you'll be able to take the total estimated credit cost and divide it by the total reach, and that will give you the total credits per SMS. So here's just another example of what you can do, that if you're wondering if it's going to be cheaper, you can just toggle to the MMS. And most of the time, for most of you, it will be cheaper to do MMS if you have emojis. You can take emojis out and save credits. So that's another way that you can look at leveraging your credits. Maybe some messages per month have emojis in it and you use MMS, and maybe some messages in the month are just strictly SMS without emojis, just copy and text. So that is the deck we'll walk through. I am now going to take you to M360, where I'll show you a little bit about the your plan. So if you want to see your plan, you go over to the menu and you click on settings. And this is where your plan will sit. And so you'll see down here what level you're on, what the total contact. Here we're looking at the platform plan, which is how many contacts you have. That's 40,000. It'll show you down below your contact limit and then your text plan. And so this is your messaging plan, and it will show you how many credits you have for the month. So that's where you get your contact and messaging plan details. And then just a couple of ideas on how to segment. So I'll click on to go to segment, you go to organize and you click on new group or segment. We're going to click on segment. This is how we're going to drill down. We're going to click on, I'm going to segment all contacts. And then we'll just go through some of the possibilities. So how do we use your database? Do you want to build out your profiles? Do you want to ask people to respond with their email? And that's maybe a way you want to use your credits that month. So you click on email and you click on, is missing. And so now I'm going to use this segment to text message people who I don't have an email for and ask them to respond with their email so that I can profile build. The same thing goes for first name, last name, if you wanted that, birthday, gender. So those are things that you can use to profile build. In terms of, you can always choose is missing, and then now you have a group of people that you don't have their information, so you don't have to bother the people who have already given you that profile information, only the people where it's missing, and then you can ask them for that. So that would be a way potentially to maybe drill down to people to segment. You can also do like a birthday club, so you could say, I want to do, again, you can always do that profile building, but after you've built the profile and you have a bunch of people's birthdays, then maybe you want to do the birthday month is June. And so now you can drill down to a smaller group of people, and you can see down the right as I play around with it, it'll calculate how many people I can reach. And so how many people's birthdays in June. So maybe you use some of your credits. So in this case, that's only 100 people. So now I can send out a birthday, perk or happy birthday message to 100 people. And maybe I use an MMS, and now that costs me 400 credits because an MMS is 4 credits per message multiplied by the 100 people I can reach, which would be 400 credits for that broadcast to tell people, hey, come in. We've got some tenants that would love to give you a birthday, deal or gift with purchase or whatever it is that you want to do with your birthday club. The other options you can do is you could do gender. So of course, gender, again, you can do the profile building, or you can do gender is, and you have your options there. You can do age, so you could select based on the date of birth. So this goes off of people giving you their date of birth. You can say, I want to do people who are between 18 and 30, because this is my, core group of people, my core shoppers, or I have some data that says these are the people that spend the most, or this is the age range that my restaurant tenant says, they get, or my retail tenant. And as you can see, again, now we have 746 who are contactable out of 961 total contacts. I have the mobile numbers that are active for this particular example at 746. So again, then I would figure out the credits. If I'm sending an SMS, that's 2 credits per message to each person. So 746 times 2, or if I'm sending an MMS, it would be 746 times 4. And that would be the total number of credits needed for that broadcast to this segment. You could also do keywords. So if you've got some special keywords that you've done in the past that you know indicate something about your audience, you could segment based on if they've texted in a particular keyword. You could add, so it doesn't have to be just that one keyword. You can add multiple keywords. You can even say it's not texted in. So maybe you had a group of people that if they've texted in are, belong to a foodie club, and you have a special offer for them. And so you want to text everybody else that has not texted into that, foodie club, perhaps in your database, and you want them to, you get a more generic offer as an example. But I like that you can do both people who have and have not committed action. Tags. So a tag is something that you use strategically. You can decide, looking, and this is a, good thing to think about now at the end of the year, but also maybe more as you look to budget for 2023. What type of, maybe 2 to 3 categories of content or types of shoppers do you want to start building a strategy around? So for example, maybe you have a core group of restaurant tenants and that's a big traffic driver for your shopping center. You could tag any text message that you send out that has a link to an event, a restaurant event, or to a offer or deal or whatever you're doing for your restaurant tenants. You could simply just tag that URL. I'll show you that in a minute. But when you tag the URL, anyone who clicks on that link that you send through the text message will collect that tag in their profile, and then you can use that to segment them later. So you could also maybe events. Maybe you throw on events at your shopping center and you send out, even if you're using, if you're sending out an email and you include a link to that email. Or you tag the email, just even if they open the email, they'll collect the tag. You can do that in different places. And as people engage with your emails, they're opening them, or they're clicking on links in your emails, in your texts, or they're texting in keywords, or even they're filling out forms, you can tag all those places. So when you're looking at M360 and you're creating things, be mindful, you can look around. There's a place to tag everything. And basically the way the tags work are whatever you create and you tag, when someone engages with that, they'll collect that tag in their profile. And then you can say, I want to segment anybody who has been tagged with foodie. And then you'll get your drill down. So we can, let's see. We can also see website signups. These would be anybody who signed up for your, this would be anyone who signed up for their, to, be a contact in M360, basically signed up for communication for shop pings. And here you can see that 6 have entered in their mobile number, and then 182 of their email. So again, don't forget that you can use these segments for both text messaging and email. But yeah, so using tags is something that you want to think about because you want to be strategic with it, because you'll want to remember to do the tagging in the attraction campaigns and in the messages that go out. And so you want to be consistent because you're not necessarily requiring people to click on the same link every time. You can have a link to, you know, a link to each of your different restaurants in messages that go out throughout the year. So maybe you send 4 messages about a restaurant in a year, and each one of them has a different link to your directory or more information or what have you. And then you would tag each of those links with the restaurant or foodie or whatever it is that you want to call it tag, so that someone collects the foodie tag no matter what they've engaged with. It's just as long as it involved your restaurant tenant. Or probably a better example is at events. So, you know, you have a different event, you have events throughout the year, and each one of them is going to have a different events page on your website, and you're going to promote it, you know, via email and social media and text. And so as people, when you send out, when you drive people to certain, you know, if you put a link to your social media in an email and you tag that link, or in a text message and you tag that link for that event, then anybody who clicks on it will get the tag event in their profile. And then, you know, whether they do one or multiple, engage with one or multiple, you now know that there's someone that's interested in your events. And you can get down to be specific. So you could literally tag it as, you know, the Santa event, because that is, you know, and you want to target those people maybe later for the Easter Bunny. So you could make it a specific tag. You can also do multiple tags. So just you can tag a link multiple times with different tags. So it could be events as general and then Santa as more specific. So you can get, you know, pretty targeted with it. And then of course you can do the inverse not tagged. But that's why I say tags are strategic. They're something that you certainly can just start doing and learn on the fly, but you'll find that as you learn, if you are going to do it on the fly, and not kind of spend that time to be specific or strategic about it, you'll find later that you'll want to fine tune it so that you can really leverage them in that broad way. Okay, so you can also do not tagged. I like those. Those are good so that when if you're sort of versioning out your targeted messages, you can send out one message to those who are tagged and then another message who are not tagged, because you know that they definitely did not engage with that type of content. So interesting there. And then entered in is another way you can segment. So you could say, I only want to target people who have entered into some sort of campaign that I have run, and you have a whole bunch of different options. So you can do any campaign and you can select those. You can do a campaign within a certain period of time. You could say, I only want to. So another way you can drill down to really to message or send a broadcast to a smaller number of people to conserve your credits or to be more targeted with your credits is you can use entered into a campaign, and then you can do it after a certain date. So you really only want to talk to people with someone who's entered a campaign after, January 1st. Because that would show you that they've been engaged with you this year. It's, only been 6 months in the year. So it would capture a lot of people, the people that are coming frequently, people who only come every so often. But because it's been this year that it's your content is pretty relevant to them. You can also do clicked and not clicked. So you can do based on if they've clicked on a link. So you can kind of get around. You'll see that if you don't use tags, if you haven't used tags in the past and, this training really kind of sparks some interest and you're thinking, man, I really wish I could reach people. I did send out links, all last year about events and I would love to retarget them this year. Well, don't worry, because you can just choose clicked, you could, think about your strategy for tags and still start deploying that. And in the meantime, as you're still collecting, your people are still collecting tags over time, you can do URLs. So you can send out messages based on who has clicked on a particular URL. You can also, as I mentioned before, you could find who has connected to the Wi-Fi. So maybe we want to see who has connected to the Wi-Fi since March. You could also add in the number of times that they've connected. If you wanted to maybe capture people who have been in multiple times, but you can see now I've drilled down to 1,255 with this segment. And then you can do not connected. So you could do, that would be, I want to create a segment of people who haven't been in the center in a certain time frame because I want to reach out to them and I want to give them an exciting offer to incentivize them to come in, or I want to survey them to find out, why a group of people wouldn't come or connect, because just because they didn't connect doesn't mean they didn't come. So maybe you want to survey the people who haven't connected in a while to ask them why they haven't, used the Wi-Fi. Is it because they're afraid of dwelling, since, kind of COVID has changed our, cultural norms? Is it because of 5G? And then you can figure out a way to educate people the benefits of connecting with Wi-Fi, because they get perks as they enter the center. So thinking, educating your shoppers to think of Wi-Fi as just more or less of just a utility and more of a fun perk, kind of a check-in, a informal loyalty, if you will. You get surprised and delighted as you walk into the center if you connect to the internet. And then you can find out when they've created. So people who are new, maybe people who haven't been in your database too long. So maybe just this month you could create a segment and reach out to them. And then of course, if they provided zip code or country, then you can use those as well. And then of course, the profile building, you could find people in the zip is missing. You can also do area code. I think I skipped over that one earlier, but area code is another one that you can use to, there we go, it's in mobile number. It's another one that you can use, area code is, to segment, to drill down a little bit. So if perhaps you want to message the people, maybe you are like a good, a tourist destination. And so maybe you're in the Florida or Hawaii properties and you want to drill down to the people who have Florida, Hawaii mobile numbers. Maybe that's a way for you to drill down. So I hope that was helpful. I just wanted to run through, there are lots of different ways that you can segment, and segmenting doesn't do anything. So you could come in here and spend 30 minutes just playing around with the different segments, seeing what kind of reach you get. And, for each type of that segment, you could create them and you can delete them. So you're not married to them. If you create a segment and you don't like it, then you can go in, or you don't think you're going to use it, and you can delete it, you can edit it, you can see the contacts that are in there. So there's really no risk in playing around. You don't have to use them. To create a tag that you use, I'll show you, click on create tag. So click here. And then it's really simple. You literally just create the name of the tag. So you can create whatever you want there, and then you will click save. And so you have fashion and foodie as examples here. And then when you go to create a broadcast, a Wi-Fi triggered, an email push, let's just look at a broadcast, you can add a URL, for example. And let's just say for some reason that was foodie, and you can insert that link now. Of course, you don't want to format it, but now you've got that link and it's been tagged. So anyone who now clicks on this link as they receive your text message, they will now have foodie in their profile. And then when we go to segment, you're able to use that to put them in a group. So it's really as simple as that. When you go into an email, it's the same. You can also tag if they've opened the email, and then if they've clicked, if you're going to tag both the open and the click, I would do different tags because you'll want to isolate the people who click. Those are going to be people who are more engaged than the people who just opened, and you might want to differentiate those. And same thing for your attraction campaigns. You can tag people who just simply enter in the keyword, and then you can tag the link in the reply to see who has clicked that. So recommend using different tags for opens and clicks if you use them together. All right, well, as I mentioned, everything that we are updating the platform with, it comes with your support team. So please reach out to us if any of this, if you need help with anything. But we're super excited. I think you'll find that using the segmentation is going to bring you some new insights. I think you're going to see more learnings, more engagement, more targeted, and probably some smarter use of your monthly credits. If you have any questions, support at pocketstop.com is a great way to get a hold of everybody at once. Or you have jenna.mcintyre at pocketstop.com and lauren.gaspard at pocketstop.com. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day.